Hi everyone, I'm Professor Tech, and this week we're talking about exciting updates regarding the Valve Steam Deck OLED model, including that beautiful screen and a few more hidden updates that you may not immediately notice. So the Valve Steam Deck has been out for over a year and a half now, and while it remains my favorite portable console for a variety of reasons, even with stiff and reasonable competition stopping into the market, it has been in need of some updates that other consoles have managed to breeze past within the last 5 to 7 months. Most notably perhaps are the Lenovo Legion Go and the Asus ROG Ally, which both feature higher fidelity screens and multiple other improvements compared to the original Steam Deck. For a more in-depth look at some of the differences in these consoles, get subscribed because I'm working on a few more videos about my experience with the ROG Ally specifically, and, well, some of the things that I have to admit I was incorrect about, and some things that I was right about, so make sure to get subscribed so that you can see those videos. So while competition has been making headway and starting to chip away at Valve's domination of the handheld PC market, Valve has been working on some behind-the-scenes updates to give a new and refreshed feel to the Steam Deck that we know and love. I would be remiss if I didn't say up front that general performance has not changed between the OLED and the original Steam Deck for all of the reviews and articles that I've seen from creators like Linus Tech Tips to David 2D. There have been some upticks in some areas and some upticks to efficiency as well as heat improvement, but not the actual computational components being more powerful themselves. But you'll see, you don't just need computer power to have a more powerful Steam Deck experience. More on that when we jump into it. So without further ado, let's jump into the 5 most exciting updates that are coming with the Valve Steam Deck OLED edition. Larger internal storage. Okay, so while maybe not the most excited thing about the updated Steam Deck OLED edition, this was the first thing that popped out to me as a reviewer. Valve retains their 3-tier system, much like they began the Steam Deck release with, but back then it was a 64GB slower drive model, followed by a 256 NVMe SSD model and a 512GB model to round out the trio. That last model also had a notably faster NVMe SSD, and it had an anti-glare coating on the screen, which for many travelers did make it a much more comfortable screen experience, but for most users, neither here nor there. However, because of the relatively low cost of micro SD card storage, I maintain that unless you really felt like balling out or you were irresponsible with money, that's me, you should probably just go with the 64GB model for one of 2 reasons. One, that you could add a 1TB SD card for significantly less and more than double the total base memory of the top model while saving money at the same time. And 2, because while small form NVMe SSDs that were compatible with the Steam Deck were rare at the time of its release, it was all but a certainty that such conditions would change and come at a cheaper cost as flash storage became more affordable. And both of these things either came true or were already true at the time. Has that changed this time around? Yes, but for a few important reasons. The new base model, which is now the old 256GB model from the last time around, lacks the OLED screen and the updated battery, as well as Wi-Fi 6E, which means that with that model you'll have the slightly less stable and less expeditious downloads, which is the same as the first generation Steam Deck we know and love. This is followed by a mid-tier 512GB model, and this is followed by what I think is a major factor for many buyers, the 1TB internal NVMe SSD. Some might say, but Professor Tech, why not get the cheaper model and just upgrade the internal SSD like the first time around? And to those people I would say, yeah, go ahead, do that. Buy the mid-tier model that comes with all of the fancy upgrades, minus the anti-glare screen coating, and upgrade the storage to 1 or even 2 terabytes. But if you're planning to upgrade to 1 terabyte, you're really not saving any money, and you're actually just creating more work for yourself because of the cost of a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD that fits the Steam Deck form factor. Will probably cost just as much as buying the more expensive model, but if you're going for a 2 terabyte, this is probably the right move. However, I know both from comments and real-life interactions that a lot of people aren't tech savvy enough, or more so aren't comfortable enough performing modifications to their system due to either a lack of experience or just a general fear of the unknown, and that's okay. And for those people, of which there are many, I think the option for a 1 terabyte version is nothing short of incredible. For most gamers, 1 terabyte is going to offer the sweet spot in terms of space and cost, and offer non-pro users the ability to couple that with a 1 or 2 terabyte SD card, which would give you more storage than pretty much anyone would ever need. Unless you're like me and like to have the most, if not all of your Steam library available offline, but I'm also a self-aware, insane man. What's not insane though? Our next topic. Quality of life updates. As with most new items, there are often smaller updates that add a noticeable change in either the efficiency or the quality of a tech product. From improved build quality to better thermal dissipation to improved user interfaces, quality of life updates are often overlooked and underappreciated differences that generational product lines use to justify full brand new releases. Well, the Steam Deck OLED is no different. First off are the improved thermals of the system. According to research done by Linus Tech Tips as well as other various testing facility channels, of which I am not yet, the Steam Deck OLED is experiencing a nominal shift up in performance thanks to improved thermal dissipation, or the way that the heat spreads and leaves the console. This, combined with a better fan and a better cooling system in general, allows the Steam Deck OLED to not only run better than its older brother, but also cooler and quieter. Not a significant difference, but enough that it's worth mentioning in my opinion. Another small update that enthusiasts will appreciate is the introduction of torque screws. Unlike Phillips head screws, which are noted by their cross-shaped 4-part bars, torque screws are engineered to last longer and resist stripping by dispersing the torque power of the screwdriver across different spatial areas. What does that mean? It means that those of us that like to tinker and modify our electronics are able to do so for longer before we completely ruin the screws to the point that we have to replace them, or worse, we even have to rethread them, which comes at a whole other cost and a whole host of other problems. The only downside here is that the torque screwdrivers are not as common, so it may mean investing in them for the first time if you're a budding tinkerer. But if you're like a lot of people in the community, they're already in your toolkit, or you can probably just ask your parents for help. You know what doesn't need help from your parents though? My transitions. Bigger battery. Sometimes bigger is better. In many cases, not for those that are insecure, but in the case of lithium-ion batteries, it is absolutely true. With more cubic space and density comes longer battery life at similar power demands to their younger siblings. Yes, the Steam Deck OLED comes with a 50 watt-hour battery as compared to the original Steam Deck's 40 watt-hour battery. What does this mean for you, the user? Well, longer battery life, of course. Valve is reporting that gamers will see anywhere from 3 to 12 hours of game performance, depending on the demands of the titles that you're playing at the time, versus the original 2 to 8 hours on the original deck. But Professor Tech, that math isn't mathing. A 25% increase in battery size does not lead to a 50% increase in battery life, as Valve stated, and to that I would say you are correct. But remember that combine that with the improvements that Valve has made with their heat spreader and improved fan technology, along with continuous structural improvements that will also allow the Steam Deck to disperse more heat in other ways and improve efficiency, along with a cooler running battery, and boom, you have far more than just that 25% uplift. It's sort of like how some electronics will last noticeably longer when it's cold outside than during a hot summer day. Better cooling leads to better battery life. Combine that with a mathematically larger battery and you get that increased performance threshold. Now, do I think these claims of 50% are completely accurate? I'll need to test a unit myself in order to be sure, but I don't doubt that there is a noticeable increase in battery life, but 50% is a bit on the high side. But Valve has been the surprise candidate of the decade for PC gaming, so who's to say? Speaking of others that might have something to say, accessory compatibility. All of those small personally run online stores and large budget manufacturers alike can rest easy, as the updated Steam Deck OLED seems to be compatible with most, if not all, accessories that were previously compatible with the original Steam Deck. Of course, any structural changes that have yet to be found notwithstanding, this is great news. I'm someone who has reviewed several Steam Deck docking stations on this channel, as well as ones that really never made it to the cutting floor or the publishing stage because either they A, didn't work, or B, were just sort of more of the same, and that was a trend that I really noticed with third-party docks. But the good news here is that they should all work regardless of which piece of plastic you choose to buy from whoever you're buying it from. Anybody who has purchased a fancy battery carrier that weren't intended to be permanently installed to your device should also be able to be added here, and grip cases like the Kill Switch by Dbrand should still be in full effect. One thing to note though is that if you purchased a higher throughput charger, the new Steam Deck OLED is still limited to the 45 watt-hour charging speed, just like the previous model Steam Deck. So any third-party accessories that you have for things like smartphones or the ROG Ally won't make a realistic difference here. Speaking of the charger, the new unit also comes with a notably longer cable going from 1.5 meters to 2.5 meters. Maybe Valve is anticipating a lot of purchasers parking their old Steam Deck by a TV using a dock and needing that longer cable for their entertainment stand. Or maybe there are other reasons, but in either case, get subscribed because in a future video, I'm going to break down all the cool use cases for Steam Deck beyond just a gaming station that are accessible even to beginner PC users and beginning Steam Deck users. Insert some sort of corny transition phrase here so that we can get on to that beautiful scream. My God. It's so pretty. Of course, we're gonna talk about the screen. What creator in their right mind would create a list about all the amazing updates for the Steam Deck OLED and not talk about, well, the freaking OLED, the screen itself? The shining feature of the new release, and the reason that many users will buy their first, second, or maybe even their third Steam Deck, will be the OLED panel that comes with the new unit. With a more efficient screen, a 90Hz display, full sRGB color replication, along with amazing coverage of the DCI-P color space at 1280 by 800 pixels, this panel is absolutely amazing. A lot of words. Several review partners of Valve have noted that while the screen resolution is the same as the previous unit, the quality and clarity of the display is so many miles further along that it feels like you're playing at a higher resolution display than you actually are. When every pixel has a 0 to 100 black to white scale, I guess you're not going to have to worry or fear that weird ghosting effect that comes with other display types of technology. Combine that with greater contrast between colors and overall nominally higher vibrance, and the difference between a display like this and something that comes with the ROG Ally, which also has a great display, becomes even more minimal, really closes the gap. I distinctly remember how much more I enjoyed playing my Nintendo Switch OLED over the previous version, and if rumors are anything to be true, it sounds like the same fabrication facilities may be responsible for the Steam Deck OLED's new screen. So I'm cautious, but excited to get my hands on this new unit because of that experience I remember so fondly. And so at the end of the day, we buy these systems to play games and have fun, and anything that makes that experience more immersive, which is often the screen we play it on, the better. So I hope you liked that video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and get subscribed if you aren't already. I love you all. My name's Professor Tech. I will see you soon, and I hope you have an amazing day. Bye!